There is a reality often overlooked in the world of R&B. Some of the most successful voices didn't truly disappear. They made a conscious decision to step away at the height of their fame. While audiences still replay the timeless hits that once defined an era, few pause to consider the unseen pressure behind the spotlight, or the quiet longing for peace that fame can't always provide. Artists like Lauryn Hill and Bill Withers are remembered not only for their music, but also for the powerful choice to live life on their own terms. What makes these stories so compelling is the question they leave behind. Why would someone walk away from global recognition and immense success? For many of these artists, stepping back was not an end, but a transformation. Away from contracts, tours, and expectations, they sought something deeper: privacy, balance, and personal truth. In that silence, they found a different kind of success, one that cannot be measured by charts or awards, but by the freedom to simply be themselves. Cody Chestnut stands out as one of the most unusual figures in modern music, an artist whose impact arrived almost overnight and then quickly stepped out of the mainstream spotlight. His 2002 double album, The Headphone Masterpiece, recorded with a raw, lo-fi approach, felt like a deeply personal transmission rather than a polished industry product. It blurred the lines between R&B, rock, and soul, earning attention for its honesty, experimentation, and emotional immediacy. For many listeners, it represented a different side of music, one driven more by expression than by commercial expectation. His collaboration with The Roots on the track The Seed 2 brought his work into wider mainstream awareness, introducing his sound to global audiences. As interest grew and industry opportunities expanded, Chestnut faced the momentum of sudden recognition. However, rather than fully stepping into the machinery of fame, he chose a quieter path, prioritizing personal life and creative independence over commercial expansion. His story is often referenced as an example of an artist navigating success on his own terms, where stepping away is not failure, but a conscious decision to protect identity, family, and artistic freedom. Cody Chestnut has often been discussed in terms of what he chose not to pursue as much as what he created. After the impact of The Headphone Masterpiece and the wider attention brought by his collaboration with The Roots on The Seed 2, he stepped away from the commercial momentum that followed. Rather than fully entering the mainstream music machine, he shifted his focus toward a quieter and more private life. During that period, he prioritized family, personal growth, and creative independence, outside of industry expectations. His absence from the charts was not presented as disappearance, but as a different set of priorities where stability and personal responsibility came before public recognition. Over time, his story has been used to illustrate a broader idea in modern music culture, that influence is not always measured by visibility, and that an artist's impact can extend far beyond the stage, especially when shaped by intentional choices about how to live and create. Cody Chestnut's later return with Landing on 100 is often viewed as a continuation of his unconventional path rather than a traditional comeback. After years away from mainstream attention, his music carried a renewed sense of reflection, blending personal experience with broader themes of social awareness and emotional honesty. The project felt less like a bid for commercial dominance and more like an expression of lived truth, shaped by time, distance, and perspective. Across his career arc, Chestnut is frequently discussed as an artist who resisted being defined solely by industry expectations. Instead of measuring success through constant visibility or commercial output, his story is often interpreted through the lens of personal priorities, family, inner stability, and creative independence. In that sense, his legacy is less about disappearance and return, and more about choosing a rhythm of life and art that aligns with his own values. Lauryn Hill was never just a singer, she was a turning point in modern music. For those who lived through the late 1990s, she embodied a rare fusion of sharp hip-hop lyricism and deeply emotional R&B expression. Her 1998 solo album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, was more than a record. It felt like a cultural statement that spoke to identity, love, education, and self-worth. The project resonated worldwide, selling millions of copies and earning her 5 Grammy Awards in a single night, marking one of the most remarkable breakthrough moments in music history. Yet behind this extraordinary success was a reality far more complex than the spotlight suggested. As her influence grew, so did the pressure, expectations, and constant scrutiny that came with global fame. What looked like the rise of a new musical icon was also the beginning of an intense personal journey, one that would eventually lead her to step back from the industry she had reshaped. Her story leaves behind a powerful question. What happens when the very success you fought for begins to demand more than it gives? The industry began to see Lauryn Hill less as a human artist and more as a high-performance product, expected to constantly deliver output under relentless pressure. As the demands grew, so did the emotional and creative strain behind the scenes. At the peak of her influence, when the world expected an even greater follow-up, she made a decision that shocked the industry. She stepped back from the spotlight, not as a gradual fade, but as a deliberate withdrawal from a system she felt had begun to consume more than it gave back. Rather than chasing continuous fame, she shifted her focus toward a quieter life, centered on personal well-being and family, raising her 6 children away from constant public attention. Over the years, her absence from mainstream visibility only deepened the mystery around her legacy, turning her into both an icon of brilliance and a symbol of artistic self-preservation. Her story continues to raise a powerful question in modern music culture. What does it truly cost to protect your identity in an industry built on exposure? And is stepping away sometimes the boldest act of all? Her journey, shaped by the success of the miseducation, also became a reflection on the hidden cost of fame. It revealed how quickly admiration can turn into expectation and how easily artistic freedom can be pressured by commercial demand. In stepping back, Lauryn Hill highlighted a truth many overlook in the entertainment world. Visibility is not always equal to fulfillment, and constant exposure can sometimes distance an artist from their original voice. Her choice reframed the idea of success, shifting it away from non-stop productivity and toward personal clarity and self-respect. Over time, her story has come to represent something larger than music alone. It has become a lesson about boundaries, identity, and ownership of one's own life. Rather than being defined solely by awards or chart history, she is often remembered for the courage to prioritize her inner world over external pressure. As her legacy continues to be discussed across generations, it serves as a reminder that silence is not always absence, and stepping away can be a deliberate act of strength. Bill Withers was the voice of the everyday person, unpolished, honest, and deeply human. His songs felt less like performances and more like conversations pulled straight from real life, where emotion didn't need decoration to be powerful. Tracks like Lean on Me and Ain't No Sunshine became emotional anchors for generations, offering comfort in moments of loneliness, struggle, and reflection. What made his path even more remarkable was how late it began. He entered the music industry in his 30s after years working in factories and serving in the Navy, bringing with him a grounded perspective that set him apart from many of his peers. Unlike many who are consumed by fame, Withers approached success with caution rather than surrender. He achieved global recognition, sold millions of records, and earned multiple Grammy Awards, yet he never allowed the entertainment industry to define his identity. Instead of chasing constant visibility, he maintained a quiet skepticism toward the machinery of fame, often questioning its demands and long-term cost. Eventually, he stepped away from music at a time when many expected him to expand his legacy even further, leaving behind not just a catalog of timeless songs, but also a powerful lesson. Sometimes, knowing when to stop is just as meaningful as knowing how to begin. Bill Withers is often remembered not only for his timeless voice, but also for the grounded mindset he carried throughout his career. Even after his first major successes, he continued working a regular job installing toilets on airplanes, fully aware that fame can be unstable. while real-life responsibilities remained constant. This sense of balance shaped the way he approached the music industry carefully, deliberately, and without losing sight of who he was outside of it. By the mid-1980s, after growing increasingly frustrated with industry expectations and creative control struggles with record executives, Withers made a decisive choice. He stepped away from recording altogether. It was not a retreat from ability, but a rejection of pressure that conflicted with his artistic integrity. For the decades that followed, he lived a quiet life in Los Angeles with his family, largely out of the spotlight, choosing personal peace over public demand. His legacy endures not only through his music, but also through a powerful example. Success does not always mean staying in the spotlight, but sometimes knowing when to walk away with dignity intact. When Bill Withers passed away in 2020, he left behind not only a catalog of timeless songs, but also the image of a man who had long made peace with his choices. His legacy was never built on constant visibility, but on authenticity, on creating music that felt honest, then stepping back when that honesty no longer aligned with industry demands. In a world that often equates success with staying in the spotlight, his life quietly challenged that definition. His story continues to resonate as a reminder that achievement is not only measured in awards or charts, but in inner balance and self-respect. Withers once reflected a simple but powerful truth. Creativity has no clear limit, but patience for compromise does. That perspective reframes what it means to make it in music or in life, suggesting that true success may lie in knowing when you have given enough, created enough, and lived enough on your own terms. Sade is often described as the embodiment of elegance in modern music, a rare artist whose presence feels more like an atmosphere than a performance. For listeners drawn to the smooth, timeless sound of Smooth Operator or No Ordinary Love, her music creates a space of calm sophistication, blending soul, jazz, and quiet emotion into something instantly recognizable. With millions of records sold worldwide and multiple Grammy Awards, she and her band, Sade, helped define the sound of refined R&B in the 1980s and 1990s, leaving a mark that still feels unmistakably modern today. Yet what makes her story so compelling is not constant visibility, but intentional distance. Throughout her career, Sade has often stepped away from the spotlight for years at a time between albums, choosing privacy and a grounded life over the pressures of continuous fame. Rather than participating in the relentless cycle of celebrity culture, she built a reputation for quiet consistency, returning only when she felt there was something meaningful to say. In that sense, her legacy is not only about music, but also about restraint, mystery, and the power of artistic silence in a world that rarely stops talking. For Sade Adu, stepping away from the spotlight has never been about rejecting her audience. It reflects a deliberate commitment to protecting her own sense of humanity. Over the years, she has expressed that she is not naturally drawn to constant attention, and that mindset has shaped the entire rhythm of her career. Instead of being consumed by the fast cycle of fame, she chose a slower, more private path, focusing on raising her child and maintaining a grounded life away from the pressures that often come with global recognition. This approach has made her presence in music feel even more powerful. Rather than appearing constantly, she returns only when she feels there is something meaningful to express, allowing each release to carry lasting impact. In an era driven by visibility and constant output, her quiet consistency stands out as a different kind of artistic strategy, one built on restraint, intention, and balance. Her legacy suggests that true longevity in music is not always about being everywhere at once, but about knowing when to step forward and when to step back. For Sade Adu, legacy is often discussed less in terms of constant visibility and more in terms of balance, boundaries, and artistic control. In a music industry built on non-stop exposure, her career stands out for its restraint. She never relied on overexposure to maintain relevance. Instead, she allowed time, silence, and careful timing to shape how her work was received. This approach created a different kind of impact, one where each return carried weight because it was intentional, not routine. Beyond the stage, she is often associated with a grounded and private lifestyle, prioritizing personal space and family life over the demands of public performance. That choice has contributed to a long-standing perception of her as an artist who values peace over pressure. In many ways, her story highlights a broader idea in modern culture. Sustainability and creativity is not only about output, but also about knowing when to step back. Her career continues to be referenced as an example of how artistic identity can remain strong without constant visibility. D'Angelo was once seen as one of the defining forces of neo-soul, an artist whose sound carried echoes of tradition while pushing R&B into a new emotional and sonic space. His 1995 debut, Brown Sugar, introduced a warm, textured style that helped shape an entire movement, blending classic soul influences with a modern, introspective edge. Later, Voodoo elevated him to global recognition, showcasing intricate arrangements and deep musical craftsmanship that earned critical acclaim and widespread attention. Yet alongside that artistic breakthrough came an unexpected shift in public focus. The impact of Untitled How Does It Feel turned him into a cultural icon in a way that extended beyond music, placing intense attention on image rather than just sound. That moment reshaped the trajectory of his public life, contributing to a long period of withdrawal from the spotlight. His story is often discussed as a reflection of how fame can distort artistic intent, especially when visual perception begins to overshadow musical depth. D'Angelo experienced a level of public attention that went far beyond his music, and that shift became a defining challenge in his career. After the release of Voodoo, the spotlight intensified in ways that often emphasized image over artistry, creating a tension between how he was perceived and what he actually wanted to express as a musician. Over time, that pressure contributed to his decision to step away from the public eye, entering a long period of absence from the industry. During this time, he largely withdrew from mainstream visibility, focusing on personal recovery and rebuilding stability away from external expectations. Rather than being present in the constant cycle of media and performance, he chose distance as a way to regain control of his life and creative identity. For years, his silence left a space in contemporary music where fans could only speculate about his future. His story is frequently viewed as a reminder that behind celebrated artistry, there can be complex human struggles that require time, privacy, and healing before any return to the stage becomes possible. D'Angelo's return in 2014 with Black Messiah marked not just a comeback, but a redefinition of his artistic voice. After years away from the spotlight, the album arrived with a sense of urgency and depth that reflected both personal evolution and a changed world around him. Its sound carried a raw, intentional energy blending political awareness, spiritual reflection, and the layered musicianship that had always defined his work. Rather than trying to replicate past success, he offered something more complex, a statement shaped by time, distance, and lived experience. His journey is often viewed as an example of how silence and withdrawal can become part of an artist's creative process rather than an absence of it. By stepping away when he felt unprepared, he avoided producing work under pressure that didn't align with his standards or identity. When he returned, it was on his own terms, with a body of work that reflected growth rather than repetition. His story continues to resonate as a reminder that artistic excellence is not always linear and that sometimes stepping back is what allows a voice to return with greater clarity and purpose.